I can just edit around. It's easy peasy. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take a run at a Genshin Impact character tier list. I was inspired to do this by watching a lot of other tier lists on Genshin Impact characters and just how different their takes are compared to what I would do. Sometimes they just like take a character and put them straight in S, and I'm like, are you serious? They're not that great. So that's kind of what inspired me to do it. There's a lot of characters that I just want to show my love for, a lot of underrated characters, and a lot of characters that other people say are S tier that I think are kind of trash. So I'm just going to be doing this in order. And this, I should say, is a character tier list. It's taking into account their kit, their aesthetic, and their personality as a character. It's not just looks, it's not just viability, it's just my take on a combination of the three and what my experience with the character has been. So, we'll start with. Excuse me. We'll start with the MC, Aether slash Lumine. I kinda like them. I kinda like them. Um, I think so. From my experience, the best. Actually, to be fair, I haven't played a lot with their electro skills, so there's that. But I have played a lot with their Anemo and Geo abilities. Now, Geo abilities not fantastic. I think Geo is the worst thing to resonate with. But Anemo, if you build for Elemental Mastery and just go Anemo, that's pretty good. Their ult is really good. Their E is really good. In terms of them pulling up and swelling damage, I kind of like them a lot. They're obviously free, and they can get a lot of constellations just by doing the story. That is a major benefit. A lot of people harp on their looks. I don't get that either. A lot of people prefer Aether to Lumine. I think Lumine is a little bit better in terms of design. Obviously, our characters are pretty blank slate in terms of personality. So personality, since there isn't really one, because they're the main character, they're supposed to just be kind of a blank slate in that regard. Um, I guess it's a bit of a detractor, but both their designs are pretty good. I rate Lumine slightly higher than Aether, which is another one of those slightly divisive takes. And their kit obviously isn't fantastic, but it's not something to be slept on. And obviously their kit can keep changing and changing and changing the more elements get, or the more elements get introduced and the more regions get introduced. So I'm going to rate them on the higher side. Actually, I think I have to go fairly middle of the road, right? Like, let's just give every character the benefit of the doubt and start them in B. Now, I might consider their personality and put them in C. I might say that their clothes are B tier, and then their personality brings them down, but their ability to resonate with any of the elements brings them back up to B, if that makes any sense. So I'm pretty confidently going to put them in B, and I personally do like them a lot. They're fun to use. I like characters that are fun to use. And again, their constellations, the fact that you can see six of them just by doing a story, that is also a plus a plus to them. It's definitely a benefit. So I might rate them slightly higher above other characters in B, but we'll see how we do. Now, I haven't actually used Albedo. I have seen gameplay of Albedo. I know a lot of people don't like their kit and their abilities. Again, we're gonna start in B.
Shut up and take my money.
Doorbuster deals now on at The Good Guys. Massive savings across the store.
So yeah, we'll start in B. The ability to kind of like make a platform is also why I think that the geo resonance with your main character is kind of the worst. It's kind of an irrelevant ability. Well, at least like with your main character's one, you can kind of block things with it as well. But just like making a platform to be able to do plunge attacks isn't that relevant. I kind of see why people don't like that part of the kit, but the ult seems pretty good. Again, I haven't used them. I'm just remembering gameplay of them. So I think overall, I think their kit might bring them down to C. But for me, let's think about their design. Yeah, the design is fairly middle of the road. I don't think that brings them up. I don't think it brings them down any further. But I do, and I think they're a pretty interesting character. I think they have a lot of lore implications with their sort of connection to Kanria, right? But it didn't go too far in depth. Like we didn't get that juicy lore scoops. Like it was just sort of very vaguely hinted at. So if we got more lore scoops, I would probably put him up back to B. But I think I'm gonna keep him in C. I think Albedo can stay in C. Alright, next up we have Amber. Amber, hey? I actually don't mind Amber. Again, this is gonna be my take, and so I'm gonna have some biases, but that's fine. I like that their E and their Q. I say I'm playing on PC, so their E and their Q is their ult. Their E and their Q have good synergy. Their having a taunt can be really useful for a lot of reasons. If they're not grouped though, the Q is kind of hard to make a good impact. It's not that difficult to group up enemies though, it really isn't. Beyond that, that's something I haven't really talked about, their passives. Like the gliding and sprinting stamina passive is pretty good. It's just handy to be traveling. So even if you're not using them sort of in a spiral abyss, they're good to have on the team. Just for exploring. I kind of like their design, and their personality is obviously great. Like, I might keep the design there. I might go personality in like A tier. I really like their personality. Their kit obviously isn't fantastic. I might bring them back. I mean, their kit in a vacuum is good. It just doesn't hold up compared to other people's. I think that is the issue. So that might balance out. However, my personal bias towards using archers, they're a little bit awkward to use in fights. Just because, unless you go like just pure attack, sort of auto attack spam on an archer, you have to wait to charge your shot to get the element. Whereas like Catalyst users, just have their element on the auto attack, whereas you have to charge shot to get the pyro. So I would probably, because they're an archer, and I find archers just a little bit more clunky to use, I'll probably put them back down in B. So the boost they get from their personality kinda is betrayed by the fact that I don't like using archers. So I'm gonna leave them in B. Okay. So we have Ayaka. Oh boy. Okay. So let's do this. This one is pretty easy for me. I think design brings them an A, and I think personality brings them an S. Now let's talk about their kit. I kind of like it. It's not fantastic. I can definitely see why you would want to bring them down. Like, for me, their kit isn't bad, but it's not good. It's the same thing with, like, Albedo and their personality. It's not bad, so they're not going to D, but it's not good enough to bring them back to B. So, if I wanted to err on the side of caution, I would go back down to A. But it's kind of good. But it's not sort of noteworthy. It's not standing out, but I don't know if it's enough to bring them back down. Do you know what I mean? Do I leave them in S or do I go A? That's kind of what I'm tossing up with right now. I'm pretty satisfied leaving them in S. Like, I think Ayaka is an S tier character, just overall. No, I'm pretty happy with Ayaka in S. I think I'm gonna leave them in S. I think that's pretty good. Now we have Barbara. Okay. Barbara. Um. Honestly, there doesn't seem to be too much to their personality. So I think, considering sort of, those are sort of my three criteria, right? Personality, design, kit. Well, hold on. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I think personality does bring them down. I don't think there's. I guess we haven't done a lot with them. They're just sort of there in the story. Um, granted, I haven't done a hangout, and I think there is a hangout with them. Maybe in the future when I get around to doing that hangout, that might bring them back up to B. Um, depending on how good the hangout is. Um, but I think for now I'm gonna put them in C. Design isn't fantastic either. I'm gonna give them some benefit of the doubt and not bring them back down to D for design. D because of design. I think I'll leave them in C and give them some benefit of the doubt there. I don't think it's great, but I don't want to be too harsh. And as for their kit, they are a really good healer. They are a really good healer. Obviously, there was some criticisms to do with Barber because in the Spiral Abyss, there'd be a lot of cryo enemies, and using your E would just make you a huge target to get frozen. But that won't always be the case. There still are going to be flaws, but they're going to be really good to use. And their healing is really good. Scaling off HP. Their kit basically being you can switch, you can Q, or you can E and just immediately switch off. You want a thrilling tale of Dragon Slayers. It suits them perfectly. So I do think that they are really good in healing. It's like some people say you don't actually need a healer on the team. Even in like later stages of Spiral Abyss, I'm sure that they're eating their words now that corrosion is a thing. I always maintain that you should have at least one healer. Particularly because like healers like Bennett are always going to be there, and they're really good. You've got Diona, you've got Jean, which I think is a fantastic healer. Even just running Chi-Chi, I think Jean is better than Chi-Chi slightly, but just run a healer. It's not a big deal. If you don't like just having a designated healer, you can run Jean or Chi-Chi, which scales off attack, and converts that to healing, so you can still dish out big damage. There's no reason not to have one, in my opinion. I might put them high C. I don't think I can put them in B. I do. They are good, but I think I'll go high C or low B. I'm going to go high C on Barbara. Anyway, I am kind of ranting. But that's just my opinion on the healers. Like, I'm not going to rate all healers low just because they're healers, because I think healers are an important part of a team composition. Anyway, Bido. I'm going to say that in terms of looks, they don't go up or down. In terms of personality, they don't go up or down. In terms of kit, it's a little bit clunky. Obviously, their E has big potential. And if you get good at using it, it can dish out a lot of damage, and you just use it at the right time, have good reaction times, you deal out big damage. Their Q is obviously good. Oh, and that's another thing I want to talk about. A lot of people don't like Electro as an element. I don't really have that opinion. I think you can still make Electro characters work just as much as any other, so I'm not going to rate them down just because they are Electro characters. I am going to rate them down because their E is not very consistent. Because being able to time it is difficult, and they won't always, there's always the issue that you have to have enemies sort of attack you in a close range, right? Whereas, Pyro Mages can attack from afar, Archers can attack you from afar, and it doesn't really do anything. You need to only be in melee and time your attacks well. It's a little bit difficult. That's why I might rate. I don't know if I'm comfortable going to C, though. I think that they can stay in B. Would I rate them higher than Amber? Would I prefer to use? Yeah. I don't think I'd rate them above main character, but I do rate them above Amber just because Amber being an archer I don't rate highly. Even though their E can be a little bit clunky, I think overall they are a good character. But yeah, in terms of like people rate them up here because their looks and personality, I'm not that taken with them. I don't think they're bad. I think being a ship captain is pretty cool. But in terms of their looks, doesn't really do it for me. In terms of the kit, I just think they're very middle of the road. So B, but slightly higher than Amber. Now Bennett. Bennett is obviously in terms of their kit and their usefulness, I think he easily goes to A for that. His design isn't very standout, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad enough to get him back down to B. And his personality, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Obviously, if you're just taking into account his kit, I think, he's an S tier healer and, like, character considering team compositions. He's obviously fantastic, right? I might leave him high A. I think his personality is good. I think his design is middle of the road. It's not up, not down. And his, obviously, viability as a character in actual Spiral Abyss and defeating enemies is really, really, really good. So I think high A I'm pretty comfortable with. I personally wouldn't go all the way to S, just considering everything about them. I don't think they're an S tier character. That said. Yeah. For an S tier character, honestly, I think I have to have like at least two of my three criteria to be like amazing. His kit is amazing, but his personality and design isn't amazing. Whereas Aika's personality and design are amazing, even if their kit isn't amazing. It's still like more good than bad, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I would say an S tier character is. At least 2 of those 3 being really, really good. So, now we have Chong Yun. Now, I'm going to say this right now. His design is middle of the road. I rate his personality highly. So his personality brings him to A. His design doesn't change anything for me. I kind of like it, but it's not a big enough of a boost to change his position. Now, his kit, a lot of people don't like it because of his E creating the cryo damage field. It can kind of run contrary to a lot of abilities. I can kind of see that. I don't think it's as big of an issue as some people say, but I think objectively it can do more harm than good in fights because say, oh yeah, you just have to like not work around, or you can obviously build for that and build for cryo damage on Chong Yun, but it can sometimes get in the way of the rest of your team. You can obviously play around it, but just as I'm saying it, the fact that you kind of have to play around it sometimes, I think definitely makes it clear that it's not a good thing. So even though I don't think it's as big of an issue as some other people say, I think it is an objectively bad thing. I'm sorry that was really rambly. I just want to make my thoughts on that clear. I do think that that's enough to sort of bring him back down. Although his abilities are really good. What am I thinking of? No, his constellations. Like if you get his, but it's the same with Bennett, I guess. When you get the constellations going, they become a lot more viable. That's definitely the case for Bennett and for Chong Yun. I think he's a B tier character. I prefer them more than Bido. Like and I'm rating them highly because. But I like Amber's personality more than Bido as well. Like how much. Like he's got 2 things going for him. No, he's got 1 thing going for him. He's got 1 thing going for him. It's his personality. His personality is kind of carrying him right now. For sure. MC doesn't really have a personality. That's why I'm kind of rating him highly. Like so these are my B tier characters. If I would just go personality, it would be this. If I were to just go kit, it would be more like this. If I were to just go design, it would probably stay the same. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know how much I want to differentiate in tiers. I can differentiate between tiers, but I don't know if I want to do inter-tier differentiating too much. I think that's okay. Diluc. Diluc, I do like Diluc's design. I don't really like Diluc's personality. I think by the virtue of him being a 5-star character, his ability is obviously really good and he's really strong. So I think that'll bring him back up to A. Okay, yeah, so here's the thing. So Diluc has 2 things going for him, in my opinion. His kit and his design, but because his personality brings him down, like, imagine I'm doing the same with Aika. Kit, design, but personality brings him down. Whereas if Aika's kit brought them down, they'd be an A. So you need to have 2 good ones and not have the third one be negative. That's what an S tier character is. At the very least. And if all 3 are good, then it's like SS tier. I think I'm pretty comfortable. Like, everyone knows Diluc. I think I'm pretty comfortable putting him in A. Would I rate him higher than Bennett? Would I go higher than Bennett? No, I wouldn't. Because unlike with Amber, for example, Amber is obviously a BT character, but their abilities have synergy. It's been said many times, Diluc pushes enemies away from him, and he's a close-range character. It's a bit of anti-synergy there. It's not very good. Then again, Bennett's E, like, Bennett's pretty much there just to use his ult, I would argue. His ult kind of carries him. Whereas his ult's it's not bad, but it's a bit of a detractor. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with this. I think Bennett is better than Diluc. Alright, Diona. An archer, a healer, a shield generator. So if I like, let's break down the kit in my opinion. Archer, healer, and shield generator. So I think in terms of their kit, I'm gonna leave them in B. Their design doesn't really, I don't really care for. Actually, their design's middle of the road, but I think their personality I don't really care for. I think it's a bit strange that someone that young is a freaking bartender. I find that really hard to look past. Personality. I like Barbara's more, and I like Albedo's a little bit more. Man, I'm really shitting on it. I guess like archers I rate low on an intertier level. But then again, their kit is better. I would say their kit is better than Albedo's. Maybe not Barbara's. I think Barbara's a bit of a better healer, but there's definitely merit to using a healer and someone who can generate shields. It's just if they weren't an archer, they'd probably be here. They might even be low B. But I think I'm going to rate them there. I think that I'm pretty comfortable with that. Now, Fischl. Now, a lot of people don't like Fischl. Design, personality, kit. I think Fischl is a very usable Electro character. They're an archer, though. They are an archer. I find it difficult to use. But I think despite that, despite them being an archer, like, how often do you really actually... Well, sometimes you do. But their E has a really low cooldown. Their Q can hit a lot of enemies. It's really good. You can just bring them in, E, and then switch again. You can bring them in, Q, and hit a bunch of enemies and put that electro status on a bunch of enemies. I think they're really good. They both have design and personality going for them, in my opinion. A lot of people don't, but I really like Fischl's personality. I think they're great. I like how extravagant they are with their words and their language. And they're kind of head in the clouds, but that doesn't bother me. I like it. Yeah, extravagant. Yeah, that's a good word of using them. It's just, so I'm just tossing up. Does their kit change their position at all? I might rate them higher than Ica. Ever so slightly. It is close, but ever so slightly, I'm going to put Fischl at the top of S tier. Now, this is where I'm going to get a lot of hate, for absolute certain. Ganyu's obviously broken. Ganyu's incredibly strong. Everyone knows it, right? So I think I have to rate, even though I haven't really used them, and they are an archer, but I just rated an archer S tier. But they're still, archers are still my least favorite class. I'll say that. Maybe Catalyst are my least favorite, but I think Archers might be close. Okay, so I have to rate them high because of their kit, their personality, and their design. This is where I'm gonna get a hell of a hate. A lot of people love Ganyu. Ganyu, I really could not relate to Ganyu at all. And their personality is very middle of the road, but I'm bringing them back down because of their personality. A lot of people, that's Ganyu's main draw is their personality, and that's why I love the character so much. I know a lot of people who love Ganyu for that reason. I can't get behind that at all. I played their story quest. I just did not care for it at all. I could not get attached to his character at all. I just don't understand the hype. I think I'll rate them high B just because they're like a completely broken character in terms of like viability. But their personality is like here. And so let's say this. yeah, this makes sense. Their kit is here, maybe even here. Their design is here and their personality is here. So I'll rate them high B. I think that makes sense. I think high B for me is generous. If I did kit aside, they'd probably be D. I mean, but I'll rate them high B. How does that sound? Hu Tao. Hu Tao. Hu Tao. Design. I think design doesn't move them up or down. I think it's fairly middle of the road. I kind of like their personality. They're a little bit pushy, right? In terms of, when you were going around and trying to sell people, the parlor's services, right? It was a little bit pushy. No one likes a salesperson. No one likes a door knocker. But I like that they are sort of optimistic in a very morbid field. Like, optimism and good energy I rate highly. That's why I kind of rate Chongyun highly, because he's very sort of upbeat, high energy kind of thing. And same with, I got similar vibes from Hu Tao in terms of their positive outlook in a very morbid sort of situation kind of thing. So that I kind of rate highly. So design, personality, and they're obviously I used them a little bit, obviously, because I'm pretty sure you do in a story quest. I wasn't super taken with them. I don't, but they are really strong, obviously. So I don't think it pushes them to S, but I don't think it brings them back down to B. I think I'm happy to leave them. A lot of the power characters are in A tier. I probably like them a little bit more than D-Luke. I like using Bennett more. Yeah, I'd rate them higher than D-Luke, but not higher than Bennett. That's kind of where I put Hu Tao. A lot of people just default Hu Tao to S. Not really for me, though, unfortunately. Jean, yeah, I'm going straight to S. Jean is my favorite character in the game. Design, S. Personality, S. Kit, S. Summer outfit, S+. A lot of people shit on the summer outfit. I don't understand where they're coming from. Jean is my favorite character in the game, hands down. I might put an S++ if S gets too crowded, and I'll put Jean up there. I am a Jean simp through and through. That's all you need to know about that. Now, Kaya. Design. Kaya is pretty good. In terms of design, he's good. Personality. I don't like his personality. He's too cocky. I don't like him constantly taking the high road in like everything. I hate it. I hate his personality. I honestly really don't like it. But I think hard to argue that his outfit, his design is like really cool, because it is. But his personality is trash. I hate it. So let's move on to his kit. Kind of an underrated kit, honestly. E, super low cooldown. Inflicting Cryo was really good. And with, I think, Ascensions and like unlocking passive talents, he can even heal some HP on damaging with his E. And his ult is also pretty good. It can really combo with other ults. Like if you have him and Zhang Long on the same team, you have the Cryo and the Pyro swirling around you. It's a really good support ability, I would say. I wouldn't, like, obviously you could go like main DPS Kaya, but he's a really good support character, I would say. He's kind of underrated in my opinion. Higher than Amber, I would say. I like using him higher than Bido. I think they're similar viability. I think I would rate Chongyun a little bit higher than Kaya though. Just a little bit. No, quite a lot actually. But definitely higher than Bido, but definitely not higher than Chongyun. That's kind of where I'd put Kaya. Now we're moving on to Kaching. Now we move on to Kaching. Alright, let's move on to... see, this is kind of tough. Alright, so... I think the personality, neither up nor down. So, personality, you're staying in B. B tier is probably going to be a lot crowded, pretty crowded, because it's what I'm defaulting to. And they might have plus or bonuses or minuses either way, but... Design, neither here nor there as well. I kind of like their kit. Obviously, they're not strong, but they do have really good abilities, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't necessarily always translate to just broken amounts of damage, but I love the animations of their attacks. I love the usefulness of some of their abilities. I think it's enough to bring them to A tier. I think their personality and design keep them in B, but I think it's enough to just squeak them into A. Would I rate them higher than D-Luke? Probably not. I think D-Luke is, like, personality-wise, since I don't really like D-Luke, it'd be like this. Design, it would stay the same. In terms of how much I like using them, it'd probably be like this. So, you can interchange their position, but I think they're at the lower end of A, in my opinion. Klee, personality, let's start there, because it's easy. Klee's adorable. I don't know if I really need to explain that. Their design doesn't really change them. However, their usefulness as a character, their variability, their kit. They're a Catalyst user. I kind of have a similar bias to Catalyst users that I do bow users. But even within the Catalyst user category, they're quite clunky. It's been said hundreds of times. Their abilities don't work with some others. I think their personality brings them to A, but I think their actual abilities would bring them back down to B. But I do think high B. I would go so far as to say high B. I would probably put them here. I would probably put them up there. Up there. Because they definitely are useful. And Catalyst users have a really good use on like tearing through shields, which is really good. Like, as long as the element is appropriate. Catalyst users kind of have a better role than bow users do. So that's why I might not go like all the way down. I think the kit brings them down, but I don't think it brings them all the way down. So I think there is still good. In terms of what I would rather use, I would still rather use main character than Klee, in my opinion. Even though they're 5-star. Lisa. Design is pretty basic, in my opinion. They're just like a stereotypical mage. Personality. Like, if people are just considering, like, looks, a lot of people would just go here. Like, on like, waifu tier list, they would just go like this. Obviously, they're hitting on you constantly. It remains to be seen whether that's just what they're like, or they're just acting their way towards you. I didn't really care for it. I'm not going to go so far as to say that they should go into C tier because of that. But I am going to go so far as to say they should go into C tier because of their abilities. Their E is obviously bad. Like, there you go. Albedo and Lisa, they obviously have bad E abilities. Their Qs are still useful. I would say Lisa's ultimate, or their elemental burst, I should say, is slightly better than Albedo's just because it generates a field, and field generation is pretty good in general. But they are a catalyst user, and I have that bias. I would probably leave them at the bottom of C. Remember, this isn't just looks, it's not just personality, it's not just their viability, it's all three. So, trying to factor in all three of those things into this tier list. So far, no one in D. I'm sure we'll get there. I'm sure we'll get there, though. Oh, this is Lumine. Yeah, they're going in the same spot. I could honestly just have one character represent them both, but we'll put them both there. They're in the same position. Okay. Mona. Design? Sure. Sure, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Their design is good. Catalyst, unfortunately, their abilities for me bring them down. I don't really like using them. I don't really like using Catalyst users. And I don't like their abilities either. But, you know, creating taunts is good. I made that argument with Amber, and I do agree with it. I think it's the combination of Hydro and Catalyst that I just feel that I can't rate that very highly. It's obviously good for tearing down Pyro shields. So they're a Catalyst user. I'm not going to rate them too low. They're obviously a 5-star. I don't like their dash and how like they go under. Honestly, you could go either way with that. I would rate them low. But a lot of people do like it, and that's why they kind of rate them high. I'm debating low B or high C right now for this character, basically. Low B or high C? I think high C is fair. No. No, I went looks, and I've already brought them back down to B. I don't think I can go all the way down. I think that's a little bit unfair. Would I... but honestly, I would probably put low B. I think I'm going to leave them right there, honestly. I don't really care for Mona's personality. Like, that's another reason why... Like, I would just go looks, personality, bring them back down. And their kit could go either way. I don't like it, but a lot of people do. I can kind of recognize that. Granted, this is mine, but I'm going to give them some benefit of the doubt on their abilities themselves and leave them low B. How does that sound? Ningguang. Okay. Ningguang, honestly, design, personality. They have those two things going for them. Honestly, design and personality is something that's shared across the board. And I like using them in battle as well. they're probably my favorite Geo character, just because they are Geo when a lot of Geo characters aren't viable, but I find them really interesting to use. In terms of, the ult is obviously really strong, in my opinion. Just being able to put up a shield on the field, not on you, but on the field, I find kind of really weird and interesting. And, Catalyst users, I would go low S. Alright, so that's where I'm landing, a low S. Because Geo generally, as an element, not as good as some others in terms of being able to react with things. Ooh, alright. Does it bring him down, though? Now I'm kind of tossing up. Low S or, like, top of A? Low S or top of A for me? It's a toughie. I can go either way on this, honestly. Low S or top of A, I can go either way. I'll probably go top of A, though. Just because they are Geo. If they weren't Geo, low S, guaranteed. But I think I'm more comfortable going top of A. I really like them, though. I really do like them. No. Their abilities are, I would say, middle of the road, because I find them interesting, but it's Geo. So I think that balances out to be middle of the road. And the other two criteria are really, really good. So I think that keeps them in S, but low S. Now, Noelle. Noelle. I kind of like the design. I think their outfit is like super intricate and interesting. I think their personality isn't bad. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. I kind of like their personality. So, I like their personality, but I don't know if I like it enough to boost them all the way up to S. I think it keeps them in A, and I think it might balance out the fact that in terms of their viability as a character, they're not as good. I think that's fair to say. I think they're just, in my opinion, a subpar healer. It can be useful to have a character that scales off of defense, don't get me wrong, and they can be really tanky. But if I had the choice between having a healer and having a tank, I would pick a healer every time. And they're better at being a tank than a healer. So I would rate them low A. I think I'm okay there. I think I'm okay with rating Noelle low A tier. So many people are going to be triggered that I'm rating Noelle above Ganyu. I know. I get it, guys. I get it. But I just gotta go with what I believe in. I gotta go with what I believe in. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Low A for Noelle. Chi-Chi. Design, I don't think it stands out. Personality, bad. Viability, so let me talk about Jean for a second. A big reason why I like Jean isn't just that I'm a Jean simp, but it's also I really like the idea of pushing out a shit ton of damage and healing at the same time and just never dying. And you can do that with Jean, and you can do that with Chi-Chi, because they're both healers that scale off of attack. They both generate fields of their respective elements that, create a healing field. So I really like, although so many people shit on Chi-Chi, and honestly, I don't get it. I do not get it. I like using them as a character. Their design obviously doesn't stand out to me, but when you meet them, when you're going around with Zhongli, yeah, it's just so adorable, dude. Oh my god, it's hilarious. So I'm going to rate them pretty high. I might rate them high A. I don't think it pushes them to S, but I will go high A. I would probably rather use Chi-Chi than Bennett. If it'll let me. Okay, there we go. I would rather use Chi-Chi than Bennett. I'm comfortable with that. Anyway, I've still got a lot of characters to go, and this has been a really long video, so I'm going to try and speed up a little bit. Razor. I kind of like Razor's design and personality. So I would probably just bring them up one tier collectively for both those things. But they are a really good character in terms of viability in battle. I think that pushes them above Noelle, above Kaching. Maybe not above Diluc though. Ooh, maybe slightly above Diluc. I think Diluc is more viable in battle. No, I wouldn't even say that. I really like Razor. I do. I probably wouldn't go any higher than that though. But I do think Razor is a very good character. Now, Sucrose. Sucrose. Personality. Here. No. I'll only go up at max one thing for every criteria. So, personality, I would go like here. Design, neither here nor there. Oh, is Sucrose going an S? Because they're a really good anime character in my opinion. Oh, they're going an S, dude. I like it. They're going above... They're going above Ayaka. They are going above Ayaka. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just have a quick look at Sucrose's outfit. Doing a bit of Googling, blah, 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 blah. No, I like that too. Yeah, no, I'm comfortable with that. Yeah, so I had a look at Sucrose's outfit. Because their personality and design are kind of on equal footing, but Sucrose is a little bit more of a viable character than Ayaka, I think I'm okay with this. I think they're actually going all the way up to S, and I love it. Child. A lot of people don't like him because he's a harbinger. I kind of like his personality. Ooh, this is interesting. Personality, up there. Design, up there. I kind of... Well, it's a difficult one. Because it suits him really well, but it's very plain. Does that make sense? It complements his character well, it suits him well, but it's arguably very plain. Whereas Noelle's outfit suits them very well as well, and is very intricate and interesting. Whereas there's nothing really interesting. But is that really a bad thing? Do you kind of see where I'm coming from? It's a very plain design, but it suits the character really well. I think I'm okay going in S for child. Then again, I don't really like using them. So I think that puts him in A. I don't really like using them in battle. If I could use like boss fight child, it would be like up here. If I could use final form Tartaglia, it would be like here. Maybe not that. It'll be like here. But because him like switching between a bow and a sword, and it's just, I don't know. I don't like using it as much. But I would easily go high A. I think that's fair. High A is fair. High A or low S? High A. Let's go high A. I'm okay with that. Above Chi-Chi? Above Bennett, yes. Above Chi-Chi, probably not. Yeah, that's good. Venti. Design? Neither here nor there. personality, I don't really like venting. Obviously, him being an absentee god, kind of fits in with his values, right? He admires freedom, but here's the thing: he was fine intervening to help Dvalin get back their freedom, right? He was fine intervening that. So he's fine intervening to restore freedom. But if you know a little bit about the lore, with Mondstadt's hero, Vanessa, he overthrew, was it Decorabian? And then he let Mondstadt fall back into tyranny. And Vanessa needed to get it back out of tyranny and set up the Knights of Favonius. So him being an absentee god isn't even consistent. He really flip-flops on that, and he let Mondstadt suffer after he left because he just didn't care, and he let the aristocracy rule again. And he left Dvalin out to dry and get corrupted by the Abyss Order. I don't like him as a character. I really don't. Oh, and let me talk about this. How on earth does a god that is literally born from the wind, number one, be an alcoholic, and number two, have a cat allergy? How does that even work? He's just manifesting a body. He's like a wind spirit. How does that work? I don't get it. I don't like his personality. But obviously he's a very viable character. Like, I have a Venti rant. I don't like his character. But he's a very viable character. I think, as much as I dislike his personality, his viability as a character brings him back up. But I'm going to keep him at low B. Maybe above Mona. But not above Amber. I'm going to keep him at low B. Rant over. Zhang Ling. Let's talk about the design. Middle of the road, neither here nor there. I think their personality, I would go the same way. I think their personality is neither up nor down as well. I kind of like them, but there's also moments when you're like doing that cooking challenge where they're a little bit snobby. I don't know, is that the right word? Like, they're obviously very steadfast in their ways, but it also means that they sort of don't really care for others. Like, it's two sides of the same coin. That's the impression I got. But obviously, viability as a character, like, I think, obviously, design and personality keep them here. But viability as a character, I do think that they are good. Both their E and their Q are good. Probably higher than Noel. Yep. Maybe equal. But again, I like using Zhang Ling more than I would Diluc, for sure. Probably not above Razor, though. I do like using Razor. I think that's fair to say. I think sort of middle of A is fair. It's fair. That's Zhang Ling. Zhao. Yeah, this has been going on for a long time. Been talking for a long time. You might get an idea of where I'm going with this. Consider Hu Tao, consider Chongyun, consider that he's like an emo kid. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Design, I will give him that. Personality, design. Viability. He is good. I'll give him that. Alright. So I don't really like his personality, which brings him down, but the rest of him as a character would probably bring him back up to A. Do I like more than Noel? I would probably go here. I would probably go here. I think that's fair. And again, I'm gonna try and speed through this a little bit more because this has been going a long time. Okay, so Xing Shou. His viability as a character is obviously high. He's a really good support. I don't like his design. And his personality is middle of the road. Middle of the road. Personality and design can kind of combine to bringing back down from A to B, in my opinion. But his viability as a support is very good. Definitely put him above Mona. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Alright. Xin Yang. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't actually met them in the story. I've been playing through. Apparently they're a Liu character, but like they don't have a hangout, they don't have a story quest. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because if there's some bit of, I mean, I guess you can check like other characters talking about them in like the voice lines and stuff like that, but that's all the impression you can really get. However, I kind of like using them. I do have them. I kind of like using them. I love their design. So I think just by the virtue of them, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? I don't know what their personality is, but I'm not going to bring them down just because we haven't actually met them to know what that is yet. But their design kind of brings them up to here. And their abilities kind of middle of the road. Not enough to bring them to S. I think low A is fair. I do like them. I just want to meet them in the story first, and that'll really might bring it home for me. But I'll go low A there. Zhongli. I don't really. If I need to explain this, I think that's rather strange. Design, viability, personality. Yeah. 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 Love them. Like, yeah, that makes sense. These two are like the ultimate trifecta for me. Ultimate trifecta. This is where I'm going to lose a lot of people. Because we have Rosaria. Don't really care for the design. Don't care for their personality. And I don't really care for their abilities either. I really don't like it. Again, it's the pessimistic. I really don't like Rosaria at all. As soon as you meet them, we're like, Barbara's going up to them, asking them to participate in this festival thing, and she's just like, no, I'm too emo on this cliff. I'm too broody right now. Leave me alone to brood. I'm too good for your festival. Like, God, they really rub me the wrong way. And again, I don't care for the sort of emo attitude being attractive. That doesn't make any sense to me. The only reason Zhao's up there is because the rest of his kit and his design, but I don't care for her design, and I don't care for her ability as a character either. So I'm honestly going to go low C just because I really dislike them. They are maybe the first and only character I genuinely just dislike in the game. Like, I don't like them at all. In fact, I'm just going to go D. I'm going to go D. D for dislike. There you go. Now, Eula. Eula, in terms of their viability as a character, I obviously use them in the story quest. They're not bad. I would say not bad, not amazing. So keep them in B. I do think that a mixture of their personality and their design can bring them up to A. I probably like using them a little bit more. You know what? No, they can wait there. bit more than Noelle. Maybe a bit more than Kachin. This is tough. This is getting very blurry because there's a very small gap between each of these, and then sometimes I just think a little bit differently, and I want to switch the order around. Try not to read too much into the order, is what I'll say. Although I am trying to consider that. Just don't take it too seriously. Take like A, B, C, D, S seriously, but don't take the order too seriously in between them. How about that? Yan Fei. Yan Fei. I'd say Yan Fei design is pretty good. But in terms of using them, obviously they're a catalyst. But their abilities are pretty good. I might rate them a little bit higher in A, but their personality doesn't bring them up to S for me. So again, I probably more, let's go like more than Zhao. Maybe on the same level as Zhao. I think that's fair. Alright, we have Kazuha. Personality. Yeah, Kazuha's going in S. Kazuha's going in S. Personality, design, viability. Obviously, he's a fantastic character. He has a great arc in the story, and I really like his design. He's a bit of a trifecta too. He's a trifecta too. Probably not more than Zhongli though. But definitely up there. Kazuha's up there. Yeah, for sure. Yoimiya. Yoimiya design, I don't think stands out, but their personality stands out a lot. Like, a lot. I really like them as a character. And using them wasn't too bad. I don't think their viability as a character in terms of, like, battling, I don't think it's enough to bring them up to S, but it wasn't too bad. I don't think it's going to bring them down, but I don't think it's going to push them in S. But they're definitely high A. I'm so confident putting them high A. Maybe like top of A. Their personality carries hard. Like super hard. Now we have Sayu. We're getting to the end. We're getting to the end. This has been a long video. We've got Sayu, a member of the Shumatsuban. I've got to go... We don't get to see a lot from them is the thing. We get a very small snippet in my opinion. It's kind of the same boat as Xinyan. Am I saying that right? I just need a little bit more story from them. Because they only really briefly popped up. But I do really like using them. I do really like using them. Rolling around is just so fun, dude. It's insane. Alright, so I'm probably going to rate them in A. I think that's pretty comfortably in A. Probably like here. I think that's fair. I think that's where I'm going to go. Because personality is up there, design pretty middle of the road, but in terms of how much I like using them, even if they're not great in terms of viability, I really enjoy using them. That's why I'm kind of rating them up there. Excuse me. Hold on. What in the world is this? I don't know what that is. It looks like Kazuha, but I've already got him there, so I'm going to ignore that. Raiden Shogun. Oh boy, this is getting tough. This is getting tough. I mean, for me, I don't really feel like I need to explain this. Looks, personality, viability, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I have to split hairs now between Kazuha. It's actually A, isn't it? EI. That's the actual character you're playing as. It's not actually the Raiden Shogun. Yeah, so I've got to split between them, A, Zhongli, and Jean. Jean's staying all the way at the top of S for sure. I still rate Zhongli above Kazuha. But would I rate Zhongli above A? Who's the better Archon? That's what this is. Who is the better Archon? This is tough. This is tough. Who is the better Archon? This is difficult. I'm probably going to go for A though. I'm going to bring them here. I'm sorry, Zhongli. You're still all four of those characters in top of S are still amazing. But I think I rate them slightly higher than Zhongli. But it's very small amount. But I still think I rate them higher. Now, Kujo-Sara. I don't really care for their personality. I don't care for their design. And I think their kit is pretty bad. But that's a little bit harsh. I might go sort of here. I was almost going to go D. I don't really care for Kujo-Sara at all. Maybe more time needs to pass and maybe I'll warm up to them. But for now, I don't really rate them that highly. Yeah. And below Diona, but above Albedo. I think that's fair. Kokomi. Hydro Catalyst. Right? So is Mona. So is Barbara. Low B, high C already. Honestly, I might leave them off. Yes, actually, I'm going to not rate any of these characters. And you know why? I can speak to their design, I can speak to their personality. Although, not even, because I'm playing on PC, and only PlayStation has gotten Alloy at the moment. But I can't speak. These are unreleased characters, so I'm not going to. In terms of being able to actually use them, they're unreleased characters, and because I pretty much just can't speak to one of my criteria, sometimes two of the criteria, I'm not going to rate them yet. I think it would just be unfair, and I'd be speculating way too much, just trying to guess. You know what I mean? So that is the tier list. S tier of Jean, A, Zhongli, Kazuha, Fischl, Sucrose, Ayaka, Ningguang. A tier we have Yanfei, Chi-Chi, Tartaglia. Is it Tartaglia? Yeah. Bennett, Hutao, Razor, Zhang Ling, Sayu, Dilu, Xiao. There's so many characters. Yanfei, Kaching, Eula, Noel, and Xinyan. B is Ganyu, Aether / Lumine, Klee, Chongyun, Kaya, Baido, Amber, Venti, Xingqiu, Mona. C tier being Barbara, Diona, Kujo-Sara, Albedo, and Lisa. And D tier being the worst character in the game, Rosaria. I feel pretty confident in that. I'm going to probably leave, even though this was a really long video, I'm going to leave in all my thought processes. I just want to make it clear how I arrived on what I arrived on, if that makes sense. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to disagree. I don't really care. I want to put my take out there. Thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, see you in the next one.